Alright, welcome back, folks. Doom.
Corruption.
We're back for another video. And today we're going to talk about some of our very favorite games. Well, really just our favorite game genre, I guess. One of our very favorite genres. Certainly his, and definitely one of my very favorites, too. Of course, I'm talking about first-person shooters. We all love them or hate them. It's a pretty black and white genre, would you say?
Yeah.
Like, I guess there are a few kind of somewhat crossover games, like the BioShock games and like the Fallout games, which kind of border RPG also.
Right.
But for the most part, first-person shooters, a lot of people think, they're all the same, or it's very black and white. It's there or it's not. I mean, and for me, it's like I really enjoy kind of a broad variety of them. I think you're in kind of the same boat.
Pretty much. I mean, yeah, I did go more for like multiplayer competitive here recently, but when it came to originally Quake, Unreal, when those were like the reigning kings, and what multiplayer did you really have unless you played them on PC?
Or like an LAN network or whatever, like the close, like colleges, and
Right.
schools and stuff would, have that kind of thing. But really, for me, it's like my earliest memory of first-person shooter, of course, was Wolfenstein on the original, DOS, and what was multiplayer then?
Yeah.
I was like, huh? What? No.
Multiplayer was an unheard of thing. It was. Multiplayer. I can't even really think about what really took that off, other than N64 GoldenEye.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's still more like LAN type.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember having a lot of fun with you and some other friends, playing stuff like Doom and Duke Nukem and stuff like that, on the N64, all sitting around one TV, that kind of thing. But I would venture to say my first true experience with, like, real multiplayer was the first Halo on the original Xbox. I can remember I hadn't even ever played the game before, and I certainly didn't have an Xbox. I remember going to a buddy's house, and he had two Xboxes, linked together, in different rooms,
Right.
and two TVs, and I was just remember thinking to myself, oh, man.
What did I get myself
What
into?
is this?
Yeah.
What is this witchcraft? It was just like, it was crazy. I can remember being so into it, and then getting my first Xbox and, and taking it to friends' houses and stuff, and playing Halo. I can remember when I got the first Halo for myself, I remember playing the story a little bit, but then once I got into that multiplayer, there was no coming back.
Lord.
There was no coming back.
I think my first one that I got into for my hardcore multiplayer gaming was Counter-Strike.
Oh, yeah.
Counter-Strike when Half-Life.
On PC? Or?
Right, yeah. I had it on PC, I bought Half-Life, was playing that, and then, Counter-Strike was here, you had the disc for it, and, well, technically now it's considered 1.6. Started playing that, and it was just, somebody had cocaine here, and you're just like, okay, now I need more, just everywhere. Let's Rick James this, and we'll just.
Yeah, man, I can remember that was actually the reason I bought an Xbox 360 was Halo 3 Online, and I was just floored by it. Like, I can remember I remember the first time I played it, too. I was at my brother-in-law's house, and he had got a 360 in Halo 3, and I can remember just salivating, over it. And it was just like, I had to have it, and then of course, I moved on to, like, Call of Duty 4 would be the first one in the series that I would play, and I didn't get too into it. I can remember playing it quite a bit, and then also the one right after it, World at War. But then my Xbox red ringed, and I didn't play any for a really long time. So, I mean, obviously, you've got tons more experience, with other games, too.
Right, well.
What are some more titles you've played,
Like I don't know if we brought it up in the last one about one of my favorite games but for first-person shooters, it was Red Faction.
Oh yeah.
On the original, well, not the original PlayStation, but PlayStation 2. But the original Red Faction, before the Red Faction Armageddon reboot and all that.
Guerrilla.
Right. The Red Faction was a first-person shooter that had a really good geomod type mechanic going on. That I was surprised nobody ever picked that back up, really. And it was really just kind of dumbed down for Armageddon, but that was a good favorite. Like I said, played Counter-Strike. Oh my god. Well, that's how I got carpal tunnel, so. That's how I got carpal tunnel. And then my first Call of Duty experience was Call of Duty 3, which was, the last World War II iteration before World War. Yeah.
So I played that one a little bit on the original Xbox, and when I say a little bit, I mean just a little bit, but enough to kind of see, where they improve things on 4 and World at War, and how much further advanced it was. Just the one game to the next, that console jump, came with a lot better graphics and things like that. But I could definitely see, that the roots were definitely starting to form up right then. Like 3, and I never played 2, so I don't know what it's like at all. But I could definitely see the natural progression between 3 and 4, though. That was pretty cool.
Right, and I think 3. I could be wrong. 2 might have done it first, but I think 3 was the first one to do the custom loadout type of gaming. And
so I haven't played it on multiplayer, so I wouldn't know. And
after like us playing like Unreal, Doom, Quake, and all those, and multiplayer always being go around the map, pick up the weapons on the map, and dominate the main weapons or even the health upgrades. To play something like you could just pick your weapon and start out with this weapon, and there's no other weapons on the map. That led to a whole new type of game change in multiplayer, I thought.
You see, even the first few Halo games were like that too. Pretty much everybody started out with the same gun, and then there was 2 or 3 better ones,
right?
Laying around the map, and they would respawn.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Halo 4 kind of adopted the loadout thing, and you could get like perks, kind of like for like kill streaks in the Call of Duty games. Where if you got so many kills or so many points, you would be able to pick a perk. Sometimes it would be a gun, and other times it would be a power up or grenades or something like that. You could kind of pick which one you wanted, and then it would just like fall out of the sky, like a pod, and then you would get to pick that up too. So there was some variation like that from map to map, but for the most part, you started out with your loadout. You started out with which one of 2 or 3. I think it's 3. I think it's the DMR, the battle rifle, and the assault rifle was like the 3 main ones that you could choose from. But maybe you could choose from some of the some of the elite weapons too. I'm not sure if I remember right, but for sure those 3.
Right.
So that was cool.
See, and I'm not gonna lie, Halo was not one of my. Yeah.
Right. It is for me, a fanboy.
Yeah.
Guilty.
I don't know, when I played 3 and I had it, and I got myself sick on the legendary, or whatever their hardest mode is.
I think you told me this story the other day.
Oh Lord, I went through, was trying to get that Hayabusa armor, and then beat legendary, and I still didn't have enough achievement points, so I went through legendary again with modifiers, and then I got Xbox Live. And I wasn't smart enough to realize that you could actually link your already existing account as your Xbox Live account. Created a whole new account, no achievements. I had to do this all over again. So doing like legendary 4 times, and I never wanted to see that campaign ever again, ever.
Not even the multiplayer.
The multiplayer, I was okay with it, but when it was really fun, it was when we went to like private matches, modified everything, and crazy speed.
Messed around, yeah.
But then we got sitting there looking at it, like, why are we playing this when we basically modified this to be Unreal Tournament?
Yeah.
Is what we did. We were like Unreal Tournament, or we do what, I don't know what they usually call it, but we call it SWAT, was battle rifles and headshot only.
Yeah, no shields.
Yeah, no shield, but that we played like non-stop.
Yeah.
But other than that, I didn't really care for the core gameplay.
It really is kind of a niche game in a lot of ways, because yeah, it's a first-person shooter, but the mechanics of it are so unique to it that it's pretty set itself apart from games other games in the first-person shooter genre like the Call of Duties and the Medal of Honors and the Battlefields and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just the sci-fi thing, and the fact that like Master Chief can jump really high, and
Yeah.
that sort of thing, and like the controls are a little different. Your aiming is different. The buttons do different things. Whereas in those other games, everything kind of does the same things. To look down, scope, you pull the left trigger. And to shoot, you pull the right. And it's just Halo has just kind of been all the way it is. All this time. The default controls. So yeah, in a lot of ways, there is that line in the sand. That you're either a Halo fan or you're a Call of Duty fan. But like me, I'm a fan of both.
Yeah.
So I really like that. But one other game I wanted to talk to you about is kind of one of those kind of bridging games because I think we've talked about BioShock a little bit. You haven't played much of them, but I know you've played a crap ton of Fallout 3.
Oh yeah.
And let's talk just a little bit about what's cool about that game that sets it apart from other first-person shooters. Because I personally know almost nothing about the game.
Right.
I own it, but I haven't even put it in yet. I'm kind of afraid to because you said back to the whole crack bowl.
Yeah.
Where I'm just going to stick my face in it and not come out until I'm dead. That kind of thing. So let's talk about Fallout 3 a little bit.
Oh god, Fallout 3 was an addiction like none other, and I don't know if it was the setting or what, but it was immersive. But the mechanics of it weren't your standard first-person shooter. I mean, yeah, you had your third-person, first-person option on the fly, but when it came to the actual gameplay, you spent your points for level ups into different areas, such as small guns for your pistols and things, your heavier guns is like your Gatling guns and things like that. So you weren't always just on target. I'm going to shoot and hit right there on my crosshair. Your spread pattern was just crazy. It was really more like a random generator, kind of hit or miss type situation. And I don't know how that worked as well as it did, but I mean, as you put more points in, you got more deadly. Your guns had a higher chance of the one hitter quitter. Yeah. And so yeah, it was way more RPG than shooter. But I mean, it was probably about the first RPG with guns that I've seen that did it well. Because usually, I mean, with swords and everything, that's a little bit easier to manage just because you can kind of make the stats negate. Well, if I do get a clean hit, it's still only going to do so much of this damage.
Right.
Whereas with guns, it's like, well, I'm shooting from this far away. If I get enough shots in, what's it going to matter, right?
Yeah.
So they did something really well there. And I don't know what happened with the change. New Vegas did not draw me in as well as 3 had. And I've heard a lot of people say that.
I think that's pretty well the consensus is that New Vegas was kind of a flop.
And I'm not sure. It could have just been because everybody just... They had
it
Fallout 3.
I heard it was really buggy, too.
Well, yeah.
It just... Yeah. It was harder to get into because it didn't work.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't to say Fallout 3 didn't have bugs. I mean... Yeah. But, yeah, and same thing with Skyrim right now. Is I'm putting a lot of time into it, but it's not drawn me into anything. I know really absolutely nothing about this game. I just know that I have 100 archery and shit just dies.
That's awesome.
That's all I know, and that's all I care about.
I haven't done a video about this, and I'm not even really sure that I will. I just finished. Actually, I'll probably do an id update, down the road because I'm playing another one too.
Yeah.
I recently beat 2 id games. And id, of course, is probably my favorite developer. And I just beat for the first time the first Quake, and also Heretic. 2 fantastic games. And I'll talk a little bit about both of them. Heretic, I'll talk about first. It's basically the best way I can describe it is like a medieval Quake. Mm-hmm. It's built around using the same engine. The game plays almost identical to Quake. Or to Doom. You just run around the maps. Looking for the keys, killing enemies, trying to make your way through the maze. Basically to find. To unlock the doors that you have the keys to and to find the exit. That's basically what it is. But there's all different kinds of monsters. and the different kinds of weapons. And I don't know the names of them, but they're always like a magic wand type thing, and they shoot different. Each weapon shoots a different kind of energy, and I thought there was a good variety, even though they all kind of look the same. Just like the kind of damage that was inflicted was different. One of the best weapons is actually the first weapon besides your default weapon that you get. It's called like the ethereal bow, and it shoots out these green arrows. And surprisingly, even though it's one of the earliest weapons you get, it's like one of the most effective. It's pretty much like the shotgun in Doom. The shotgun is the first weapon besides the pistol that you get, but you stand by it almost the whole game.
Right.
You use it so much in the game, especially with Doom 2 and the double shotgun.
Oh god, that double barrel.
Oh man, that's the only gun you need.
Oh yeah.
It's like once you get when you get fight the bosses and stuff, it's nice to have the BFG. But aside from fighting like the cyber demons and stuff in Doom, double shotty, you're good the whole game. As long as you can find shells, you're good to face anything.
Unless you could actually find like the one rock or something to hide behind a chain gun and get the DPS and hide. Yeah. Otherwise, just pull out the shotgun.
Double shotty, man, you're gonna kill it in Doom 2. But for Heretic, it was pretty much that bow that you stuck with all the time. And the reason I say that is because the ammo, not only was it just good, but the ammo was so abundant. I mean, there was one of the type of enemies that you would fight with these big knight-looking things. They got like a knight's helmet on, and they would throw these axes at you that were like they lit up green just like your arrows did.
Yeah.
And when you kill them, they would drop some of those arrows, so you would pick them up. And really, that's one thing I could say about this game. There was no shortage of ammo in this game. That was like one of the best parts, actually, because it made the game not easy, because it was actually a pretty hard game, but you had enough ammo, like always. I mean, it was just everywhere, for a lot of the different kinds of weapons. And there was like a weapon that shot out like a rocket launcher blast, and just different degrees of strength. But I will say this game it's not easy, and it's the bosses are brutal. Oh my god, the last boss takes forever to beat. That is if you don't die.
That's kind of par for the course for like the id games, though.
Oh my god! I mean, this was worse. Like this guy takes like 3 times as long as it takes to kill a cyber demon.
Oh shit!
Oh man, it was bad.
Oh shit!
Like it's like the Serpent Rider. It's this big like wizard, dark wizard looking thing. He's riding on the back of this giant lizard thing. It's like, well, you start shooting him, and then after a while, the big lizard thing dies, and you think, all right, good, whew, done. Nope. Then he comes back and like he'll like shoot you, and then he'll disappear and shoot you again. It's like, oh my god, this sucks. So it took forever. But the other game, Quake. I actually enjoyed Heretic a lot more than I enjoyed Quake, surprisingly. This was not the first Quake game I played. I actually played Quake 4 first. But I came back and played 1 on the PC. The original. I figured, better. I have it for the N64, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play it on the PC. So I played it on the PC. I liked it, but, this game did not age as well as, like, Doom.
Yeah.
For me. Really, like, the polygon graphics, they just look like crap to me. It's like, God, this looks ugly. Everything is so brown. It's just disgusting. The gameplay, like the first-person shooter part of it was great.
Right.
I liked the weapons and and the power-ups and everything. That's fine. And the story, it had a story too. It was kind of pretty light.
Right.
But it was there. And the difficulty was there in certain parts. Different kinds of enemies were harder to beat than others. But just the all-around look of it was just crap to me. But I did have fun with it.
But I can remember, the bread and butter of Quake and Unreal both were the multiplayer, and most people just didn't even give it credit, and then it was just just aim at this pixel and hope it dies.
And I like that you could jump. I mean that was a big improvement from Doom to Quake, was not only the 3D, the true 3D, but the ability to jump was big. You could actually incorporate some platforming, which takes the dynamic of the game far, because not only are your levels the mazes, left, right, forward, back, but now they're up, down, you can do a little bit more with
Right.
it. So that was it made the dynamic of the game quite a bit better, and it made it a lot harder too. But it was fun. And right now, currently, obviously, I've been playing the Halo series a lot, and Quake 2. Having a lot of fun with that. Haven't beat it yet, but when I do, I'll probably do an id update on my channel, even though what I just said is, pretty much it. But Quake 2 really improved on almost everything that I didn't like about Quake 1. The polygons look so much better, and just everything is cleaned up. It's a lot more colorful, and it's just like 100% better, to me.
See, I know I didn't do too much with Quake as much as I did with Unreal, because I could just remember going to a couple of LAN places when I went out of town, and these things just blew my mind. I'm like, you can go to a place, pay like $10 for an hour to sit and play video games? Good Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm in, and we play Unreal, and I can't remember which version it was. It was Unreal Tournament something.
I have Unreal Championship for the original Xbox, and I need to get another controller, and we can throw down on that a little bit. That's in an old pickup video, but we can definitely throw down on some Unreal sometime.
But those I remember just being freaking amazing. And the one thing I do remember though is that with the jump physics and everything, like the fastest way was what was deemed bunny hopping, just friggin' jumping.
Yeah.
and your speed just was outrageous. And I remember watching some pro players playing it, and that's.
Well, and I don't know if it's the same in Unreal as it is in Quake 3, but like the rocket jumps too.
Oh yeah.
Like the self-inflicted, shoot the rocket to the ground so you can
jump higher.
Do a really high jump.
Right.
And there are places, even in Quake 2, where you have to do that in order to it's like not always. I haven't come to a place where it's actually something you had to do to progress the level. But it was definitely something that you had to do to get this item, like not really like a secret area because you could see it, but the only way you could get up there is to rocket jump.
Yeah.
So you had to have enough life to do it. And luckily, I'm playing Quake 2 on the Xbox 360, and it allows you to save wherever you want. I could save at this moment, and try something, and if it kills me, just come back to that very moment, so I don't have to redo a whole bunch of crap.
But I remember the downfall to that save system though is if you got yourself in a bad position already and saved, then you were just
then it made it even worse.
Just restart game.
Yeah.
Cut your
luckily
losses.
it does give you an option at least with this one. You can either load your save or load the beginning of that level. So that's kind of a like a safety net for that. So if you did get yourself in that bad position, the worst thing that was going to happen is that you have to restart the level. But the Quake 2 levels are pretty in depth because they're like units. So when you go each unit has a section that you're kind of starting over fresh. But then once you finish that unit, then you have to go back through all the levels. Go back to the starting point and then progress to the next unit. So it's actually quite a bit more dynamic than Quake 1 and Quake 4. Obviously, it progressed with the more linear storyline, with actual voice actors and stuff like that. But I love Quake 4. And Quake 3 didn't really have a storyline. It was just a multiplayer. Was it?
Right.
So, I mean, the story mode of Quake 3 is just like a Mortal Kombat style, where you just face all the different people, that's basically it.
Well, I remember Unreal Tournament 3 doing kind of about that same thing where the single player aspect and the storyline were basically multiplayer maps with bots. And, and it was just like, oh.
Yeah, see, that's the way Enemy Territory Quake Wars is too.
Right.
God, I'm talking about Quake a lot. It just happens to be the series besides Halo that I'm playing a lot right now.
And when you go to first person shooter, it's hard not to talk about Quake or Unreal. And it's just
and
Doom.
It's hard for me not to talk about Doom.
Anything id for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me not to talk about those anyway. Obviously, I love RPGs and action games too, but I always come back to first-person shooters.
Right.
It's just something that I'm just wired to do, but that's just it though. I've always played Wolfenstein, I've always played Doom, and I've always played Duke Nukem. It just happened. It just happened that way. I had played those games a long time before I ever played an RPG. A long time before I even knew what an RPG was.
Right.
So that's where it started for me. Really, that's where my hardcore, gaming kind of started. So, I know that like Call of Duty and other games like that catch a bad rap a lot, but you know what? I still find them fun.
Right.
I know that you're a lot more into the competitive gaming.
Right.
I'm not as much. We've talked about this briefly a little bit tonight.
Yeah.
I get so annoyed when people talk about like KDs and stuff like that. It just doesn't matter to me.
No, and even in the competitive scene, it's not all about the KD. I mean, yeah, you can have a high KD, but if you're not winning first place at the championship, you're not walking away with money.
Right.
So
It doesn't matter if you
what does it matter?
Yeah.
And I've heard so many people on, just say, oh, you're trash, your KD's terrible. I'm like, well, yeah, but we won. I'm top spot on my team, and you're the top loser. What?
Yeah.
I don't know. It goes on and on with that, and we were discussing about some of the mechanics of this. You want to jump into that now?
Sure.
We were discussing with Call of Duty and the mechanics behind it that make, in my opinion, Black Ops 2 probably the worst iteration into it. I mean, the first and foremost that makes it, terrible in almost everybody's opinion is that whole lag situation they got going on. I don't know what the hell's going on there, but to me it boiled down more to mechanics, and it went as far as the kill streaks. The kill streaks are what really kind of ruins everything. And I'm not against kill streaks, because with Modern Warfare 1, that was what was fresh. That was what brought...
Yeah, it's what was new.
Yeah, and it worked. I mean...
And they weren't overpowered, though.
Right.
Like, it was impossible for you to get overpowered, Once you hit that third one, that was it.
Yeah, 357, UAV, friggin' mortar strike, and helicopter.
And that was it.
And nothing that you controlled. And I think that's what really was amazing about it. World at War came out. They tried a little bit with the dogs and everything. I didn't really care for that. But, it wasn't bad with kill streaks. Modern Warfare 2 came out, and they started implementing in chopper gunner, predator missiles, everything that was player controlled. I generally didn't like, except predator missile. I was actually okay with that, because that's a quick, 5-second type of...
Yeah.
You're in, you're looking down, you aim it, and it's done.
Yeah, once it goes off, it's done.
Right.
There's no flying around.
But the 45-second chopper gunner sitting in there to rack up the nuke, and the stacking kill streak was another issue completely. That was a terrible idea that I was glad to see in Modern Warfare 3 they corrected that stacking kill streaks like that did not happen.
Yeah.
But when it came to Modern Warfare 2, it was still fun. Kind of forgave it a bit, but it was like, okay, don't do this kill streak system like this again. Black Ops when it comes out, I am not a Treyarch fan. I am not a Treyarch fan. Black Ops comes out, and you've got, again, a chopper gunner style thing, and the big thing then was called chopper gunner and dogs. So dogs are now running around for however, I think it's 20 seconds. It feels too long.
An eternity.
And so people would hide up, in buildings to get away from the chopper gunner while the dogs are going into the buildings. There's no risk to this player, and each kill that they get is going to their KD, bringing about this new problem. And like I told you, is I think the one thing that we can do to kind of alleviate the kind of community thing is kill streaks. Yeah, have them in. Your kills streaks do not add to your kill death, though.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it'll kill
somebody.
somebody.
Your score in that match, but that's it.
Right. But your overall KD, the end score, if you had 20 kills with a gun, that's what you got. I mean,
it doesn't take any skill to get kills with the kill streaks. It takes skill to get the kill streaks, to earn them.
Right.
But then after that, you're being rewarded for something you technically didn't even do.
Right.
So I'm such a casual Call of Duty fan. I've played several, I own a few, but I seriously am so casual with it that I get annoyed and don't play, because I don't care about that competitiveness of it. I just like to play. I just like to get in there and shoot people, So it's just, we've talked about it a little bit. I know that you're actually, pretty into the competitive play, and that's awesome. You played a match on my my account tonight and made me look really, really good. And I'm gonna get on there later on, there's gonna be like nasty messages. What'd you leave for? Come back. You know, people are gonna be like trying to challenge me and stuff. Not really.
Oh, well. Just give me the account login again.
26 and 12. That never happened ever in my life.
And that, like I said, that was late start. So.
Oh yeah, that was like in the middle. You know, when you come back, we won the round. You know, and you had that top spot.
That was the first time I'd ever used that death machine too, because I'm sitting here like,
what is this?
Work?
What is this?
And then it was just like, oh my god!
Whoops.
Now I see why people use this.
Yeah, but
it does still kind of feel dirty. But that's more of the ones that I'm more okay with than like the Lodestar.
Yeah.
That aerial going around, and it's a basic spawn trap type of kill streak.
Yeah, you can just sit there and...
Yeah, those I hate. But when it came to, like, Death Machine, it was that kind of... This is a little bit too much, but at least you're still in control, and you're at risk of getting killed.
Yeah.
And that was okay, but Lodestar and... there's a ton of them that I just can't even think of the top of my head, but Chopper Gunner being the main ones.
Yeah.
And I know that most of them are like, well, just carry a rocket launcher and do that. I was like, that's freaking ridiculous trying to get a rocket launcher out when you got freaking 5 missiles coming down at you.
It's a catch-22 with a lot of things like that. It's like, well, you can take preventative measures, but then you don't have time to use them, you know.
And with like a lot of the vocal community, Modern Warfare 3 is deemed like the worst iteration. But I believe that was because that there were a lot of preventatives for kill streaks.
So you had to be a lot better at the game.
I was a big specialist user, and a lot of people hate that. But that rewards your kills with the perks, you know, like sleight of hand.
Yeah.
Such as that. You would get rewarded those, and after, well, I had hardline on, so after 7 kills, you had every perk in the game on your character. So, with Blind Eye being the active countermeasure against lock-ons, and the no red target on like Predator missiles or things like that, Blind Eye was probably the best perk to counter a lot of that bullshit. Because with like sentry guns, they'd set them up, you know, start spawn trapping. Blind Eye on, you walked right in front of the sentry gun, it never detected you, and you knifed it to death. And it was one knife, and, you know, the sentry gun's down, and you ain't got to worry about nothing else. So, a lot of people hated that. A lot of the KD whores.
The people that were using the sentry guns.
So, they did not like the specialist class, and then they did not like the support class for mainly the one offensive ability that the support class offered was the... I don't even remember what it was called, but it's basically a carpet bombing.
Oh, okay.
Stealth bomber, that's it. Stealth bomber comes down, carpet bombs 1 aisle worth of map, and, well, then it's done. I had no problem with this. This was okay, because this was a lane controller. You would control your lane with this. Mission would be the map that everybody hated this on, because B flag is right in the middle. And if you looked at the map just right, you could actually go from A, B, and C on domination flags, carpet bomb down this strip, and you could hit every flag and still get the high traffic.
Huh.
So it was a good kill streak. It was quick, and that was it. It was that good type of objective defense.
Yeah.
It's like I'm getting triple flag capped. This is English now.
Is that your first language?
Yeah, as far as I remember. I don't know, it could be Klingon for all I know.
Klingon.
But yeah, with this being the defensive for like triple flag caps, calling one carpet bombing, it's over, they're respawning, they're pissed, but now you can take that whole back to a defensive situation.
But it comes down to it. You earned that, it happens, it's over, we move on now. Right. Whereas like some of these other things, it's like, okay, you got it, it's still here.
Yeah.
It's still here, you know. And they're just racking up these kills.
Like I said, Modern Warfare 3, that was at least the one thing that they corrected, was that if your Predator missiles or your chopper gunners or whatever were in there that were killing, it was not adding up to the next kill streak. You still needed to use your gun. And when they took out the nuke from 2, the 25 kill streak nuke, which would end the game once you got it.
Yeah, I heard how.
I was okay with this. I mean, I liked the nuke, but for it to end the game like it did when everybody was, once they figured out how to stack these kill streaks, it really just got annoying. And then we found out that they really didn't remove it. In Modern Warfare 3, you got the Moab, which I'm talking, everybody's like, yeah, we know this. Yeah, but the Moab was basically the nuke. You needed, I believe, 30 kills with just your gun. Any kills from your kill streaks would not count for this.
Count. Weird.
In one life, so.
Okay, so we've now discovered that you don't like what Treyarch's done. You like what... Who did 3? Was that Infinity Ward still?
Technically, it was Infinity Ward, but it was like remnants of Infinity Ward, and then they went to Sledgehammer.
Else. Okay. Well, my question to you is, if they keep on with the yearly game, which they, I don't know if they're totally committed to, but that seems to be what's going on. Where do we go from here? Like, what does the non-Treyarch company do with the next game? What do you want to see?
Well, with Treyarch, they've always kind of looked back at Infinity Ward's projects and tried to add on to them. I almost kind of want Sledgehammer Infinity Ward. Actually, I've actually heard that rumor is that Neversoft is supposed to be doing the next one.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah, because I don't think they've done a first-person shooter in there.
I don't think they've done any first-person shooters.
So this could be wrong. I mean, it was a rumor, but the last I heard was Neversoft was in charge. But
last thing I heard them do was like Tony Hawk.
Hawks, yeah.
I mean, it's like weird.
Yeah, but I'd like to see them kind of look back at Black Ops 2's big competitive push, and I would like them to try and add on to that, fix that lag situation, balance out those kill streaks, and then really push this league play situation further. I mean, with the events that they do hold, it's pretty cool. I mean, the community is there. You know, love or hate as much as you do, that community is big, it's strong. And that Call of Duty XP events that they usually hold, or Call of Duty, or COD Champions, I think is what the last one was called, where they've got tournaments, prize money, you know, they gave away the Jeep on Modern Warfare 3's release. They had the scrapyard from Modern Warfare 2 recreated in a paintball field.
Oh, weird.
Oh, I would have loved to have been there.
I forgot you're a big paintball guy.
Oh, yeah, I'm a paintball guy.
I forgot.
And I have not played since, like, 07, 08. And I would have loved to take my shocker out there and just let in on that field. But it was really cool. I mean, these events, that they're really pushing for that community. But their balancing for these games needs to kind of change to keep that interest. Otherwise, with this new surgence of indie gaming, kind of like taking over from where the big publishers have taken. Because it's kind of weird how you look back, is like the indie gaming, if you really look at it, was what almost killed the gaming industry. Like, and then Nintendo came in, and then your big publishers came in with the Nintendo seal of approval. So the game's not bad, but you still may not like it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like E.T.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's go there. E.T. Yeah, it wasn't like E.T. was going to come in and destroy the home console market. So now people have gotten worn out on a lot of the AAA publishers.
Indie games are kind of...
Yeah, they're coming back, man.
They're kind of rising.
Yeah.
You know, rising up from the ashes, you know.
And
kind of cool.
It's really good to see what they're doing, because now with the indie gamers, they are gamers, and they're not just trying to cash in with like E.T. and all those older games. So they know what they're looking for. They try and look into balance these situations, and then you get some really fun games. I mean, indie-wise, like my top one, which you're like trying to avoid, was, you know, Binding of Isaac.
Ooh.
Binding of Isaac looks fun. It is fun. And it's just because there's no set, well, I beat it once, there's no point.
Yeah.
It's really a replayable game. And